everyone, welcome to Germany, where I'm on vacation with my fiance and we have found this beautiful go-kart track and decided to go there. Now, as you can see, it's quite wet. We have been experiencing rain all week at this trip, but we have found a kinda clear day. The track, however, is mostly still wet, especially this part. The back straight where we're coming to shortly will be a little bit drier, and I will be taking it very easy, trying to also show my fiance how to drive in the wet, as she has never done that before. This curb on the inside is actually very dry and we should be using it. It's gonna take a little bit to find that line for me, but yeah, this part of the track is very dry where we're coming up now, and you can take it full speed, although it is gonna take a little bit to find the lines through this circuit, as I have never been here. Now, there's no official timing, and that means that we have our own timing. I've done it myself, so it's not gonna be 100% accurate, but that is okay because we're mostly here for fun. Now, the sessions here are really quite short, only 8 minutes, and this left-hander actually is one of the most difficult corners. Very wet, and you can see we hit the wall. Now, they have some iron or steel frame around the kart, and I understand why there's quite a few walls that are quite hard. These walls on the left and right do seem quite hard, but they are actually quite soft. This part of the track is very wet. It's gonna be very difficult to navigate. Now, we have some time between sessions, so my fiance and I will be talking between these sessions to figure out the lines, tell each other what we're doing, and so we can both improve. This is only her third time karting, if I remember correctly, so she will mostly be learning from me, as she has never driven in the wet, like I said before. But this is going to be our first proper lap. We have been out of the pit, and it's quite a long lap. As you can see, it took quite a long time, almost 1.5 minutes to get through the first lap. Of course, we are exploring, sliding a lot, and a lot of water actually gets into my seat. We're gonna get it out because that's a bit annoying to sit on. Now, this track is in the mountains, and it's a beautiful scenery around this track, and I really enjoyed going there. So if you're ever in Winterberg, then definitely go see the track and maybe go there and have some fun yourself. Now, it is only 8 minutes a session, like I said before, which is really short, and you definitely don't get too many laps, especially for a long lap like this. And we make a mistake actually going through the hairpin there, very slow spin. This part of the circuit is definitely the most wet and the most tricky to drive. So this track really is two different tracks in one right now, because you have a very wet section and a very dry section. So there's two kind of experiences that are really different. One part of the track you can go quite quickly and try to build some tire trams, but through this part of the circuit you can see very wet, very shiny, and that also means you can't take that much speed. This left-hander very important to get a good exit onto the straight, as we actually have quite a lot of understeer and hit the wall quite hard, but we do take a little bit of speed through on the straight. But you see me hit the steering wheel in frustration. That was a very annoying that I hit that wall. I'm gonna hit that wall every session. This left-hander though, very curved and actually a little bit of banking, so you can take it quite quickly. Now, into this right-hand hairpin, the braking zone is dry on the left, but as soon as you turn in, there's quite a lot of water. You can see me struggling through that corner. The curb there is really what you need to use. Now, onto the next left-hander here. We have entered the dry part of the track, so you can take it normally and try to get some temperature into the tires. This long, like snaking section going right left is actually quite quick, and you can take the curb on the in and outside. I will figure that out eventually. This right-hander coming up actually will be flat eventually, not right now. And now going into that hairpin, we can see someone there standing next to the kart. We slow down even more than we normally do, because there is no marshals that are coming to help you. And you can see my fiance here on the right actually stuck. She has been there for a little bit, thinking there would be a marshal coming to help her, but there are no marshals. So she gets out of the kart, pushes it back, and then she's gonna be in front of me. We make sure that she's okay. She continues to drive. It wasn't a hard impact, it was really soft. She just couldn't turn the kart enough to get away from that wall in the wet. And now we're looking at her lines as we start a new lap. Lap times in the 1 minute 30 seconds, so we will try to improve, but we can't quite yet. As my fiance goes onto the straight, she takes off, really using every part of that throttle, where in Lelystad she wasn't quite comfortable doing that. She now is, although through the corners here, through the left-hand hairpin, you can see she doesn't take that much speed, and in the corner she is going to be quite slow. But at the end of this 3 sessions, she's gonna be just as quick as me. me just trying to figure out now how to take these lines. We have not figured out yet the inside line, as she has a lot of oversteer on the exit there, hits the tires there, but that's okay, that can happen. This part of the track of course is dry. She doesn't realize yet, so she's taking it a bit slow, being very careful, and I'm gonna show her and tell her this is a dry part of the track in between sessions, so she can take more speed through there. This left and right also seem quite quick, but they are quite dry as we go around the outside there, and now going through the longer right-hander. You have to be careful here, and in this braking zone for the hairpin you can actually lose the kart, and the wall on the out, it is very hard, so you have to be careful. And in front of us a duo kart appears, so two people in a kart, as we actually lose it there almost on the exit. Just managed to save it. We're gonna try to overtake that kart quickly. The dad with his son or daughter, I don't really remember, one of the two, but they're being very careful, and that means we get a good opportunity looking behind, also looking where my fiance is, so she can try to follow my lines. We go very wide. We're still looking where the grip is, where the track is at its driest, and this left-hander, very important. Any understeer like we're having right now can have an effect on this right little flick there onto the straight, and we have some oversteer trying to get the power down on a wet part of the track, but we do manage to save the kart, not lose it, and that's a good thing coming onto that straight. Now I'm gonna be a little bit slow through this lap, gonna wait for my fiance, try to show her the lines, try to work together to discover this track, and by going slow I'm actually checking out the curb on the outside and the curb on the inside, and both are quite dry, I have found, so you should use them if you can during the lap. Still on this dry part, waiting for my fiance, because we are on this track together, we are going through this track together, and I want to stick together a little bit. Now I will eventually take off, do my own thing, but for now I'm just trying to show her that she can take a little bit more speed, which is very difficult. Of course she is doing very well, but it does mean that I get held up a little bit. She is gonna become very quick though, as you have seen in the ice karting video, although that is filmed a few months after this video, so that means that she already had a few more sessions. Still very well done, as we try to take that last hairpin in a good way, which is really difficult. I'm trying to find a way, but it's so wet, and we're trying lines here on the infield section, because again it's a very wet, and different lines seem to work every lap, so it's changing all the time, which makes it even more difficult. Trying to take the same line as the last lap here, it doesn't actually quite work out. A lot of oversteer, and that means we have a bad exit again. Understeer there through the left-hander, have to slow down going onto the straight. We do not hit the wall on the exit though, so that is good, and taking more speed now through the straight and trying to set some quicker lap times here. Going to the inside, the very inside of this banked corner. It might be better to keep a bit more speed up and a lot higher on the corner, but I'm not quite sure yet. We try to go to the inside there of the hairpin, we spin out, hit the steering wheel because we're a little bit frustrated, but we try to get to that inside curb. You have to do it very precisely, because from the outside to the inside curb there is a little bit of a wet patch, and that means that it's very difficult to get there, and you have to slow down enough before you can take that corner. So that is something we're gonna be working on, and this right-hander we're gonna try to take quicker and quicker every lap, but we can't quite take full speed through there just yet. And as we do that, we try to brake late for the hairpin, and we hit the wall on the outside quite hard. That was quite painful actually, and I'm gonna feel that for at least 2 days after this karting video, because it was quite hard. I just couldn't slow down, so definitely need to go on the brakes a bit earlier, or we're gonna hit that wall quite hard again. But through this infield section and the left-hander, we're almost losing the kart again. Have to do a lot of corrections there as the session already comes to an end. Now coming into the pit, the entry is actually also the end line or the start finish line, so I decided to take it as a lap. Then if we stand still and just go again for the next session, we're gonna keep the timer rolling because it won't set a quicker lap time. Now as you can see, trying to be quite aggressive, trying to warm my tires. We're gonna try to go as quickly as possible, and that means we need warmer tires for the wet section of the track. Now this is gonna be the driest session we have today, because between this session and the next one it's gonna be raining, and that means we're gonna be setting our quickest lap this session, and that means also that we're gonna have a lot of fun. Now there is more people on track with us this session than the last session. There's a few kids and they're gonna be quite slow, so we're gonna have to be careful that we don't hit them and don't do anything to upset them, because I don't don't want to upset a little kid that is just gone karting on his holiday for the first time, because they are a Dutch family, so they're probably on holiday. Going through this right-hander, I do feel there's more grip, and as you can see, the sun is shining in this beautiful place, and that means as we lose the kart again through the back end hairpin there, we spin it around, lose quite a lot of time, but we see a beautiful sun come out in this mountain town. It's really beautiful. The scenery is great and the track is drying. I can feel there's more grip in certain sections than there was last section. There was one session in between, so we've been doing it relaxed, and it's not going to be the most intense session here. So you can look through the valley here right in front of us, trying to go through the right hander. Actually hit it on the left there at the exit onto the straight. Not a hard hit, but just a little bit of a brush against the wall. As we can see, one of the kids now in front of us going through the left hander. They're going to be quite slow. That is just coming out of the pit, so we've done a lap already and they've just only done the straight. We can see the next one ahead of us as well there, going really slow, and if we exit there the hairpin, we take a lot of curb and go past, so no problems getting past the kids the first time. Let's see how it will go next lap. For now, just pushing, trying to see if I can find their dad, because I think their dad is also on track with us, but he seems to be a little bit quicker, which is of course expected from an adult. Now we're gonna see these kids every lap, and it's gonna be a few times where we have to wait, so they will hold us up a little bit, but that's okay. We're just gonna make sure we get past cleanly and quickly. And the hairpin does look like it's drying, but it doesn't feel like it's drying, which is a bit annoying. I wish it would be drying, because that would be really impressive if we can get a quick lap here on our first time out, but we need that hairpin to get a lot drier than it is right now. As again through the left and a lot of oversteer, trying to take more speed, and now through the long left and there's quick right hander there, we actually managed to just avoid the wall on exit there and take a good speed through onto the straight. As we are looking ahead to where the kids are, the guy I'm catching up to, which you just saw on the left there, is actually the dad of the kids, so we're gonna be catching him through this lap as well. He's actually in a duo kart, I think, as we almost spin the kart there and can't quite get to the inside big raised curb. Now you can't take too much of that curb, because then you kind of lift off the ground with one of your wheels, so you have to be very careful how you take it. As we're almost up to that duo kart, and he's actually going to be almost stopped on track, we have to brake quite hard there. He is parked up next to his kid. That was very, very dangerous that he was there just standing still. That left-hander is actually a blind left-hander. The camera is a little bit higher and you can see over the top of one of the hills, but I couldn't see him around the corner. Just at the end I saw him and I had to take avoiding action. The kid probably a little bit scared by the power of the kart, as the other one will be overtaken in the right-hander here by us. But yeah, we managed to avoid that crash. That would be a really nasty crash there if we had hit them in the back, but I had good reflexes and I saw they were standing still. And from that scary moment to the quickest lap of this session, we'll show it to you and then we'll come back. So there we go, a quickest lap of this day, 1:16.183. So a quite good lap. I saw some improvements that I could make, but unfortunately for the rest of this day, we'll either have some traffic that will cost us time or something else, like a mistake from my part that will make sure we're not improving anymore. And actually going high up onto that curb did actually work. I do also use it quite a bit on that lap, as you saw, or this lap I mean, but it was not quite as much, and it helped the kart rotate really well, as it's quite wet on the exit there, and that means that if you get washed out you actually lose quite a lot of time. But now we can see in front of us my fiance with the red helmet, and we close up quite rapidly, but she is also catching up to one of the kids, and we're not gonna dive down the inside of my fiance because that would risk hurting the kid, and we're being very careful. So through the hairpin we try to go side by side, lose the kart actually, and we do lose a bit of traction there. We were standing still, so my fiance gets away a little bit, so good traction for her. And now we're gonna see if we can make a good move on her through the right hander, not quite enough room, and then when we go through the left actually she goes quite wide, so we're gonna go side by side when we go across the line here, make sure everything's all right, looking at the track, looking at her, and now we're fully past. We can attack the next lap. Then we wash wide, actually make a mistake, hit the wall. My fiance hits me quite hard in the back there, and I do put up my hand because she couldn't do anything about that. I made a mistake that hurt a lot, so I'm gonna not be hurting for 2 days, but at least 4 days now, because it's gonna be quite painful, but that's okay. I made a mistake, a lot of understeer there, hit the barrier, and of course when we got out of the kart I immediately blamed my fiance, because that is what you do as a good husband and a good fiance. But that was fun, and that happened, and I of course said she couldn't do anything about it, and I was okay. She tried to avoid me, but she was so close behind, there was not really anything she could do. But we'll keep carrying on and keep on racing, and then eventually we will overtake her. But first let's see if she can overtake this duo kart. It is now right in front of us, and we are approaching the wet section, so she's taking a little bit of a different approach than I would. She's taking a lot of time and going not that quickly, keeping her distance to that kart, but that also means there's not really a way to get past. So we now dive down the inside of my fiance, but one of the kids in front again. We are past my fiance but got stuck behind the kid there, and now my fiance can overtake me again, but we overtake her again. A lot of action here, and we go on the outside there of the duo kart, turn it to the inside. There was a wet patch there that carried me wide, so we had to switch to the inside, go past the kiddie kart, and now we're going past the duo kart. Immediately afterwards we actually go to the apex of that corner, and then we go into the pit. This is the end of the second heat already, and we're gonna go, when we stand still we're gonna switch to the third heat. So here we go, and this is gonna be the final heat of this day. It's gonna be quite busy on track. You can see in front of us a few people that have gone out already, and they're not gonna be that great at karting. They're gonna be kids again, and that means that if you look in front of us through the hairpin you can actually see 2 of them spinning around, and that means we're gonna be catching up quite quickly. They do go on throttle though, so they're gonna be in front of me, and the guy with the white helmet, not a kid, is gonna be right in front of us through the hairpin there. We try to avoid him. We both have a little bit of oversteer, not quite sure if there was contact. In the moment I didn't feel like there was contact. We go around the outside, and now we have the dry part of the track, so there shouldn't be someone spun around. You can also see some kiddie karts with the flag at the back just getting out on track, so some people that are also behind me. My fiance also behind me. Now looking at the track here, we're gonna have to be careful. There was a little bit of rain between sessions. We thought we would be driving in the rain, but that's not the case. The sun has come out again, but through this braking zone we take too much speed, and we hit the wall there quite hard. Add another 2 days to the pain counter, 6 days of pain, and we have now a duo kart in front, and the girl in the red helmet, she's gonna be quite annoying and actually almost spins around in front of us. She manages to catch the kart, but I do think I know why I found her annoying. She was very unpredictable, drifting around in front of me there, looking at me like I had done something wrong there, but she doesn't have any throttle control. She just basically goes full throttle or no throttle, which in these wet conditions is quite difficult. Now I hit the tires there on the exit, and I do have a little bit of a sore hand, as you can see, waving it around. That was from the hit just before the hairpin at the back end of the circuit. That can happen. We're just going to do our thing, and we will encounter the girl with the long hair later again. and quite a few times. If she can't get that throttle under control, she will be spinning out quite a lot more, of course. But now let's focus on the guy in front in the black jacket. He's going through the hairpin, actually spins it around. I have to take avoiding action. I apologize for that, although I couldn't do really anything about it because he was kind of stuck just next to the apex, and I can't, especially in the west, just avoid him there. As we now again reach this beautiful part, this dry part of the track. Look at the trees there on the left, and then you can see into the valley a little bit there at the end of the circuit. Really beautiful, really enjoying my vacation here, because we have been here for about a week now when we went karting for once, and that was real fun, and we're really enjoying this good day. A lot of sun here. If you enjoy the beautiful scenery, then definitely leave a like on the video, or if you don't agree with the beauty of this track, then please let me know in a comment down below. For now, we'll just keep on pushing through this lap, this wet section of the track. It got a little bit more slippery through the rain, and especially this left-hander is one I've been struggling with, beside the hairpin at the end of the track, of course, which I have been struggling with all the time. And this left-hander, you have to make sure not to go too wide, to go to the right there, and we just managed to avoid that exit curb that is there, or it's a wall, but it feels like a curb, but it is a wall because you don't want to hit it. But it's really interesting, this track, and this banked corner, real fun. We have some oversteer coming into the corner. You can see the track is a bit more damp. Wasn't heavy rain, but enough to just make it a little bit more slippery, and that means it's a little bit more difficult as we go through the hairpin here. Take the curb on the inside, we actually drift wide, and that is because the curb is also a bit wet. You still should use it because it does make the corner quicker, but it's very difficult to maintain pace now through these wet sections. This section, the most dry section, is still quite dry, and as you can see, this left-hander, you can actually take a lot of curb. I've been using more and more of that curb as we go outside for one of the kiddie karts, and that was a real quick overtake on this track. And now we're going to the end of the lap, almost the far away hairpin there. Try to take not too much speed, but actually lose the kart, spin it around, hit the steering wheel in frustration. It was a real lazy spin. It's still very difficult, that corner, and that is a mistake, as we also hit the tire on the inside there because I have some understeer, and really difficult to maintain the pace, like I said, through this section. It's very technical, and with the wet lines that are changing all the time because the track is drying again, that makes it very difficult. But we will just try to keep on pushing as we now start a new lap, our 15th lap of the day, and we're going onto the straight, and we can see the girl actually that spun in front of us almost and then hit the barrier actually in front of us. We're gonna catch her in the middle part of this track in one of the hairpins. This hairpin to the left, actually have some oversteer again, have to catch the kart, have to reposition myself as well a little bit, and then we go to the next hairpin, the difficult hairpin. We here have a half spin, try to take avoiding action, but that actually means I have to spin around myself, hit the steering wheel in frustration again. Now it wasn't that she was spinning that made me spin out, but the half spin, I thought she was gonna go around and do something like go on throttle again, so I just made sure not to be too quick into the corner, but that meant I had to brake more than I usually do, and that made me spin around. So now we're gonna have to catch back up. Let's see where it's gonna be, because we are still quite a bit quicker. And now through the hairpin there on the end of the circuit, she is actually there. She has spun around and is actually facing the good way, so she can drive away quite quickly, and we have some understeer going through that corner. But then she spins in front of me at the same place she spun last time, goes on throttle as I pass her. I try to go around the outside as much as possible, and it's really difficult to see, but she was going on throttle there. It's on the footage, it's barely visible, but I had to take avoiding action there, and that just made my blood boil there. That she doesn't wait but just go. She doesn't have any awareness as I spin around there on the penultimate corner there, and I am really quite angry. So I'm gonna try to calm down, have some music playing, and I'll see you back when I'm not angry again. Alright, Angry Me is definitely a worse driver here as we go around the outside on the grass of the duo kart. I should try to maintain calm me because that is definitely the quicker driver of the two, but we will just try in this final couple of laps to remain calm and have a quicker lap time, a 1:37, not a quick lap time last lap. This lap does feel a little bit better, although I did make quite a big mistake in one of the hairpins. There was quite a lot of water there, quite wet, and as we go through the penultimate corner here, again a lot of oversteer, almost hit the tire barrier, just managed to avoid it, then go on the throttle, and we actually managed to set a 1:25, so still 9 seconds off of my best lap time. Quite a big difference as we now have someone in front of us again that we can see, and we might have to overtake depending on how quick they are. Someone stuck there on the inside actually drives up to the top. That is the girl that I'm angry with, and that means that I do encounter her again, but not in a bad way. As we're now approaching the middle part of this final lap, we try to take more speed into the hairpin. That doesn't quite work out, a lot of oversteer, but we do not hit the tire barrier. Waving to my fiance, and I thought there would be one more lap after this one, but this is actually going to be the final lap we have of this day. I really enjoyed this track. If you ever get the time to go there, definitely go and do at least the heat, because it's a real fun track, quite technical. I don't know if they change it often, because these barriers here on the left actually quite easy to move, so maybe they have some different layouts, which also would be quite a lot of fun. As we approach the final hairpin, almost go straight on because someone is right in front of us, but we managed to avoid them. Let's see if we can still overtake. We can see the guy waving the checkered flag already, so we're gonna be coming in and we're gonna try to overtake maybe in the penultimate corner, and we actually do manage to go down the inside but have a bit of oversteer. See that there's a marshal there, so go into the pit. And thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. Like the video if you enjoyed it, comment about the scenery, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.